May I request Salim sir to please recite the verses of Quran and also share with us the wisdom. Please, Salim sir.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. Translation. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. In the name of Allah, the entirely merciful, the specially merciful. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. All praise is due to Allah, Lord of the worlds. Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, the entirely merciful, the specially merciful. Maliki Yawmiddin, sovereign of the day of recompense. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'een. It is you we worship and you we ask for help. Ihdina sirat al-mustaqim. Guide us to the straight path. Sirat al-ladhina an'amta alayhim. غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. The path of those upon whom you have bestowed favor, not of those who have evoked your anger or of those who are astray. Sadaqallahu al-Azim. Thank you very much.
Salim sir, thank you very much for sharing with us wisdom of the Quran. Now, may I request Professor Ahtesham to please play Rani Anjuman. It's a song specially composed to show the secularism and the human values. Please, sir. Ahtesham, sir. Sir, please play Tarane Anjuman. Am I audible, Ahtesham, sir?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Ahtesham, sir, is there?
Hello.
Sir. Sir, please play Tarane Anjuman.
Okay, sir.
अंजुमन 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 हिंद की आबरू शान इस्लाम की शम्मा जलती है यहाँ प्यार के नाम की शम्मा जलती है यहाँ प्यार के नाम की हमको हाजत नहीं कोई इनाम की आरज़ू है फकत इल्म के जाम की इल्म के जाम की हम हैं और ये हमारा चमन अंजुमन 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 इल्म दौलत है अज़मत है इंसान की इल्म इज्जत है हिंदू मुसलमान की इल्म राहत है दीन और ईमान की इल्म जीनत है हर दिल की हर जान की इल्म जीनत है हर दिल की हर जान की बुलबुले हम हैं और ये हमारा अंजुमन 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 अंजुमन
Thank you very much, Ahtesham sir. You have listened such a beautiful song, and we feel very much proud of being Anjuman-ites. Thank you very much. Now, may I request Dr. Shaukat Ali sir, the chairperson of research cell of our college, to give a formal welcome to the principal, our eminent speaker, and all the participants from all over India. Shaukat Ali sir, over to you.
Yes, sir. Am I audible, sir?
Yeah, yes, sir, you are.
Hello.
Sir, you are
Warm
audible.
welcome and very good afternoon. Yeah, so warm.
Sir, your mic is off.
Shaukat sir, up mute ho gaya. Please, sir.
Hello. Now
yes,
all of you can hear me out.
And now we can.
Warm welcome and very good afternoon to all the respected participants in today's mega event. Goes by the name of One Day Online Faculty Development Program, organized by Research Cell IQAC and Department of IT of Akbar Peerbhoy College of Commerce and Economics, Mumbai. As a research person of Research Cell, this is my small responsibility to speak briefly about the Research Cell and thereafter formally welcome the IC principal, the guest of honor for today's program, and all the respected participants for today's event. Friends, research and informations are the strength. No individual, no organization, no nation will be mighty and powerful without encouraging and indulging in the research activities. For any country, any individual, any nations to be successful, to be stable, to be popular, must encourage and indulge in research activities. As far as research cell at our college goes, the story is like this. One day, the most honorable president of Anjuman-I-Islam, Dr. Zahir Aikaji was sitting in principal chambers, and there were some academic deliberations. During the course of academic discussions, he expressed the desire to establish the PhD program in our college and announced all the possible support at the up to the university level. The principal of that time, Professor Mahmood Hassan, a fine human being and personal friend of mine, took it as a challenge and put all the efforts to ensure that it is being approved from the university are being set up at the college level in the year 2015. Friends, I'm very happy to announce 3 candidates have been successfully awarded the doctorate degree through our research cell. 1 PhD thesis has been submitted for evaluation. 1 PhD synopsis has been submitted to the University of Mumbai for the appointment of referees. 1 more PhD synopsis is ready to be submitted in few days' time. I must take this opportunity to welcome a very dynamic, very energetic, very enthusiastic, very effective IT principal, Professor Hemanthkumar J, for taking the lead and showing the leadership for organizing the program like this. I also welcome a very learned resource person, guest of honor for today's program, K. Punjani. He may be speaking on writing the research paper for qualitative journals. Last but not the least, I welcome all the respected participants who are participating from across the nations. And I hope all of you could be using this platform meaningfully. And after the conclusion of this program, all of you must be placed in a better manner to write a very meaningful research articles for qualitative journals. Thanks to all and all. Thank you very much.
So thank you very much. Now, may I request our as a principal, Mr. Hemanthkumar sir, to please address all of us and give some brief about our institution. Thank you, sir. Sir, आवाज नहीं आ रहा पीछे.
Thank you, Dr. Rajesh. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Thank you. Today's guest speaker, Professor Krunal Punjani, participant teachers across the country, and my dear colleagues, on behalf of our management, Anjuman-I-Islam, I welcome all of you for today's very short FDP session on research paper writing. I take pride in sharing with all of you that our education trust is one of the oldest trusts the country, having completed over 148 years of dedicated contribution in promoting literacy in education, and our own college has just completed 52 glorious years of providing education, especially to those who are have-nots and who do not have access to higher education. We at Anjuman provide education from KG to not only PG, but also PhD, as mentioned right now by our senior teacher and the chairperson of research cell, Dr. Shaukat Ali. Okay, I would like to congratulate Dr. Shaukat Ali, the chairperson research cell, Professor Kirti Menghani, IQAC coordinator, Dr. Rajesh Bhoite, today's program coordinator, and Professor Ahtesham Shaikh, the IT coordinator, for taking the lead role in arranging for this FDP within a very short period of 3 days, and would like to thank all the participants for such an overwhelming response. Focus of today's FDP is to guide research scholars to produce research papers which qualify for Scopus and other international abstract and citation database. I'm sure at the end of today's session, we all will definitely be more equipped with various techniques to produce such quality research papers. I once again welcome all of you and wish the program, today's session will be more resourceful to all of you. thanking you all once again. Over to Dr. Rajesh Bhoite. Rajesh, over to you.
Yeah, sorry, sir, I was mute. Sorry. Yeah. So thank you very much, sir. Now, about research quality papers, let me tell you why we have organized this FDP. We know that the UGC MHRD has been mandatory to write research papers, without which we are not going to get any good marks in promotions. Even if you want to recruit for other universities, other colleges, it is one of the major criteria. You should have some good papers presented in high indexes. Even though if we have to take any MRP, major or minor, from ICSR and other institution, they also have the same criteria. You must have some quality papers, because it shows your research aptitude. It shows your readiness, that how you're going to contribute toward the society and the community, how innovatively you are taking your own area of knowledge, and how you're going to support the government and the policymaker. So writing quality paper is one of the big hindrance in new learners, research scholar, because they do not know what is the exact format, how to start, how to write, what to mention, because many Scopus journals, and they have their own criteria, and the selection takes months sometimes, they long time is taken to select your paper. So we hope that such kind of FGP will at least let us know how to start with the good research works and how to accomplish them. So now may I request our IQAC chairperson, Madam Kirti Menghani, to please introduce our today's eminent speaker and give the brief information about our speaker. Over to you, Geeta ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rajesh Bhoite, sir. Am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible.
Okay. Good morning to all the dignitaries, resource person, and all dear participants. Myself, Kirti Menghani, the IQAC coordinator of my college, and it's a really honor for me to introduce the resource persons of today program, Professor Krunal Punjani. Sir at present is working as an assistant professor in Dr. V.N. Bedekar Institute of Management Study. From last 7 years, sir is also teaching as an assistant professor in marketing in B School of University of Mumbai. Sir is doing a PhD. At present, the sir is pursuing his PhD from the Scopus International Deal University. Sir is having a more than 12 years of experience in branding, promotion, event management, and management teaching. Sir has worked with many corporates like Angel Working, Way to Wealth Brokers, AC Nelson, and Micro Technology. Sir has conducted many CSR projects and have authored research paper and case studies. He has published research paper in many referred national and international journals, including few in a Scopus Index and one in ABCD, the listed journal. Sir has done lot of certification courses in FDP workshop and online courses. He has invited as a resource person to deliver the lectures. Sir has done the major projects for the industry as well as for the academic. Sir has won the award in the industry as well as at the academic level. Sir has won the reward as a star performer of the year in Micro Technologies India Limited, and as an academician, sir has won the BMA Innothon Dandekar Trophy 2019 as a mentor and guide among the 26 of Management Institute for providing most innovative and feasible solution for the corporate problem statement. So we are very fortunate to have you amongst us, and definitely all the participants would love to hear you and to have your expertise and to have them in the case for having a more API by giving a research paper in the national or international journal. So with these words, sir, I welcome you, and now I pass the session charge to the Rajesh sir. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much, ma'am. Now may I request our today's speaker to please start your session with So over to you, Kunal,
Sure.
sir. Thank you.
Sure, sir. I would like to check whether my voice is properly audible.
Yes, yes.
Yes. So thank you so much, Kirti ma'am, for this wonderful introduction, and thank you so much, Dr. Rajesh Bhoite sir, the principal sir, Hemanthkumar sir, and the head of the research cell, Shaukat Ali sir, for giving me this opportunity. So, and thank you to all the participants. In the participants list, I could also see some of the participants who have attended my previous FDPs and workshops. So welcome back all of you, and thank you for trusting me again. Yes. Sir, I would request the IT team to enable me to share my screen.
Sure,
Please.
sure. May I request to Ahtesham sir to please make the host?
Yes, sir.
Ahtesham sir. Yeah, please.
Just give me. Sir, you are now the co-host, sir.
Yeah,
Krunal, sir.
thank you, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. So just would like to confirm whether this PPT screen is visible to all.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much. So let us begin with this interesting research FDP on research paper writing, which is being organized by Akbar Peerbhoy College of Commerce and Economics. Okay, just a minute. Let me stop my video now. Yes. Okay. So before we start the discussion regarding the contents of the paper writing, sorry. I would request all the participants to please keep yourself on mute mode.
Krunal, sir, I am muting everyone. You have to again unmute yourself.
Okay, okay, sure. Yes, thank you. So before starting the discussion regarding the contents of or different parts of the research paper, let us understand the importance of doing any research work. Okay, so generally, I can see in the participants list, many of the participants are already have done their doctorates or completed their PhD, and I'm sure all others would be pursuing their PhD studies. So this specific scientific iceberg, here we can see a minute, that on the top, you can see that yes, it includes various exciting presentations on our research work or some of the grants which we receive from relevant authorities, or maybe the published articles, which is an outcome of our research work. And the outsiders only view this kind of results. However, if we go to the below part, so here, this is something as only we as a researcher would be knowing, that it includes various different arguments, maybe with peers or maybe with our research guides, then some practical shortcuts we might have taken, or maybe it also includes some positive as well as some negative results, as all our hypotheses are not being accepted. Then certainly, in between, we also realize that some hypotheses are wrong. Okay, and some different level of uncertainty, as most of the PhD scholars are now facing after this the lockdown or maybe this COVID-19 issue. So it involves various such hard work and efforts from our side, from the researcher side. Okay, and This is something which has been published by Center for Higher Education, Research and Scholarship, Imperial College of London, by appreciating the efforts of all the researchers. So you all, or in fact, we all should take pride while doing any quality research work. Next important thing is, uh, I have heard from some of the researchers or peers that generally persons from the industry, they share that the academic research, okay, or maybe the academicians do not play an important role in from the perspective of say industry or maybe corporate perspective, okay, or maybe they are not contributing such research work where industry like it would be useful for industry persons. However, if we see this first part of this specific image, say for example decision maker of any industry or any company generally only sees such kind of problems, like maybe their customers are unhappy, or maybe their sales are down, or market share is low. However, it is only the researchers who actually deep dive and identify the main causes of all these problems, okay. And unless such main causes are unknown, whatever efforts been taken by the decision maker would not be useful or would not be effective. Okay. So there are various examples, like since I'm from management background, and I'm sure all of you who are from commerce must have heard about the Maslow's need hierarchy theory or various motivational theories. So these theories are nothing but their own research work, which have given such practical insights to the industry and corporates so that they can resolve many such problems. Okay, so both from our efforts perspective, from academic and from practical perspective, we must take pride in our quality research work. Okay? So with this positive thought and positive mindset, let us begin the discussion about research paper writing. So first, this is the general structure of a research paper of like many journals which are being published in which are being indexed in Scopus. Okay, so generally it will start with the title, then abstract, keywords, followed by the introduction, literature review, which involves theoretical background as well as hypothesis. Then one of the important part of the research paper is research methodology. Then what are the different measures being used, data analysis, then overall results and findings, followed by the discussion which is connected with the results. Then what are the implications of our research work, which includes theoretical as well as practical implications, then limitations and scope for future research, then conclusion, references, and maybe appendix and exhibits based on the research topic which researcher has selected. Now, let us go through all these topics one by one, and let us try to understand the expectations of this international journals or Scopus index journals. Okay. First common question which many of us have in our mind is, say, like how long or how short the title of the research paper should be. Okay, so generally your title should be in between 12 to 14 words. Okay, so whenever you decide your title, just try and check that if the word limit or word count is 12 to 14 words, then it is okay. It should not be too small or should not be like going beyond 20 words as well. So this is the standard which is being followed. Then what to be mentioned in that title? So we must make sure that key constructs, or we can also understand this construct as variables. So key variables which have been considered in the research paper, then focused research area on which the research paper has been written. So these two things must be included in your research paper title. Next, we need to be specific about like while writing the specific title. Okay, that it should not be like for example, it should not be something which would be unclear to the readers or maybe the editorial team. Okay, so with key variables and specific focused area of research, you can be specific with your title. We will be going through few examples also, and then it should highlight some novelty, that is some uniqueness which has not yet been studied so far. That is one of the important criterias of Scopus index journals when they accept your paper, that some novelty or some uniqueness, some newness should be there, and clear idea that advanced
Hello, Kunal sir.
So no voice.
Yes, 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 sir. Hello, Kunal sir.
for such
He'll be joining soon. Please wait.
Yeah.
Hello, Kunal sir. I follow.
I think in between it got disconnected.
Yeah. Please,
Yeah,
please
I hope.
continue.
Yes. Yes. So we must like second option is we must somehow advance our existing literature review in the same research domain. I think again someone's mic is on.
Yeah. Excuse me, Kunal sir. May we request to all the participants to please have attention on their speaker, please, because you have to give attention on your speaker. Please mute yourself. Thank you.
Yes, yeah, thank you, sir. So here some of the titles of the research paper which I have taken from some of the prominent journals like Journal of Management, which is very having high level of H index.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So here I have considered few titles from Journal of Management, which is in ABDC A-star category, which is topmost journal in the management domain. Okay, and also highly indexed and we can say high impact factor journal. So these are few of the titles you can see. First is filling in the blank slate, examining newcomers schemas of supervisors during organizational socialization. Okay, so here you can see the word count is 13 and they have considered few of their variables. Okay, next is should declining firms be aggressive during the retrenchment process? Okay, so retrenchment process is one of the key research area, focused area of the research. Okay, and this is another way of writing title where we can involve some question also. Okay, next one is moral identity complexity, situated mobility within and across work and social roles. So work and social role is the focused area here. And the one more is dark side of visionary leadership in strategy implementation. So here visionary leadership is the focused area. Strategic alignment, strategic consensus, and commitment. These three are the variables which they have considered. Those who are from finance area or finance domain can connect better with this titles. This is from Journal of Finance, another top index journal. So here the first title is Risk Management in Financial Institutions. Okay. Then what is a patent worth? Evidence from US patent lottery. So here from title itself, we can understand that what this paper is about. So in one of the FTPs, which I have attended in as a part of IIM Ahmedabad's workshop, research workshop. So there they had mentioned very logical thing is that your title should be like title of a movie. Okay, like after hearing that movie title, we as we as an audience, we get attracted towards that. Similarly, your title of the research paper should be such that the readers should be attracted towards reading this specific research paper. Next few titles are relationship trading in over-the-counter markets, tax efficient asset management, evidence from equity mutual funds. So this is also one type of method of writing the title where we can put in between the colon. So where the overall focused area can be put on the left side, and what you have done in that research paper can be written on the right hand side. Similarly, measuring innovation and product differentiation, evidence from mutual funds, and beyond random assignment, credible inference and extrapolation in dynamic economics. So most of the titles, as you can see, are following those rules of first is word count, and second, which all the titles are following is including your research focused area and some of the variables. So that was about the first part, that is we can say title of the research paper. Okay. Second is how to write the abstract and what to write in the abstract. First important thing that needs to be considered as like generally the word count or word limit of the abstract must be between 200 to 250 words. Okay. Some of the journals mention that yes, it should be within 200, and some journals also give the limit till 250 words. So this we can decide as per the journal guidelines which we are targeting. Second, we must consider this as a mini version of your entire research paper, or to write it as interestingly as making a movie trailer. Okay. So after watching the movie trailer, we get like if we like that movie trailer, we get excited to watch that entire movie. Similarly, in most of the Scopus index journals, it is like that these journals will initially show you the abstract of that paper. Okay. And based on that abstract, readers decide whether they would like to read the entire paper or not. So after title, abstract plays most important role. Next, it should be able to grab the attention and interest of the readers. This is very much important. Now, some researchers may have this dilemma that how we can grab the attention and interest of all the readers. So here, readers means we have to consider only first is that readers of that specific journal. Okay, which journal? Sorry, which journal we are targeting. Okay. For example, if it is Journal of Finance, then readers would be all those who are interested in reading about recent research works in finance. So we have to keep in mind such kind of readers only. Okay. Similarly, if it is, say, for example, Journal of Marketing, then again we have to consider only marketing audience and so on. Next is should give the gist but not reveal everything. This is very much important, that it should not reveal everything. It is like after viewing again the movie trailer, we only come to know some part of the movie, that this movie is based on this kind of story, but they keep some kind of secret. Similarly, we should not reveal everything. Okay? It is only about revealing the gist of your research work. Now, next important thing is what should be written in this abstract. Okay. So this is like we can say again generalized method which is being followed by various Scopus index journal. So you can write say 2 lines about the gap and theory which you have considered in your research paper. Another 2 lines is about relationship which we are testing. Okay? So the relationship of among variables which we are testing, we must highlight that and we must write 2 lines about it. Next is 2 lines about the research methods we have used. Okay. I think someone's mic is on again.
Yeah, excuse me, Krunal sir.
Yes, yes.
May we request to some participant, please mute yourself.
Yes, I'm checking if I have some options here.
Because yeah.
Yes. Okay, I think yes, it has worked now. Then,
sir, this is Ahtesham. I'm
yes,
sorry to interrupt you.
yes, sir, please.
Sir, in case you find any disturbance, you mute everyone and unmute you will be remaining unmute at
Unmute.
that time.
Yes, yes, sure, sir.
If I do it, you will be also getting muted. Therefore, I am not doing it.
Yeah, okay, sir, got it. Thank you.
Yeah. Otherwise,
Thank
I'm
you.
taking care of the mic that is open. I am doing it
Hello, sir.
individually.
Yes, 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 sure. Yes. Next is after writing 2 lines about the research methods, we can also mention say few lines about the overall results and findings of our research work. And last line about say some implications or maybe some kind of uniqueness you have mentioned in your research paper, and maybe some lines about say future research scope. And now let us understand this method by one example of a research paper which has been published in another topmost Scopus index journal. So the title of that research paper is Role of Resources and Work Family Enrichment, the Role of Work Engagement. Okay. So this is connected with, we can say, OB kind of or organizational behavior or human resource kind of area. And let us try to connect all those things which we have discussed in the previous slide. And purposefully, I've highlighted the text in the different color. So the red text here we can read, this article proposes a theoretical model of work family enrichment and test the mediating role of work engagement. So that it talks about here we can see it talks about the gap and theory. Okay. Yeah. Next is just a minute. Yes. This blue text, it talks about the relationship we are testing. So here we can see inclusion of work engagement extends prior research on work-family interface and allows for examination of the effects of role resources. So what kind of role resources they have considered? Job resources and family support on work family enrichment. So here relationship they have highlighted that work engagement का जो overall relationship है, ठीक है? So it allows examination of effects of role resources on work family enrichment. Okay. Next is about the research methods which they have used. So two-way survey was conducted among a matched sample of 786 employees in China. The model was tested with structural equation modeling technique. So that is about the research methods. Next few lines is about results and findings, what they have found. So results show that work engagement was the most proximal predictor of work family enrichment. So here we can see the results of like this relationship which they were testing. They have mentioned here. Then work engagement fully mediated the relationship between family friendly organizational policies and work family enrichment. So again here we can see this work engagement have been considered as a mediator. Okay. And also between job autonomy and family work enrichment. So whatever like research hypothesis they have mentioned, so they are mentioning the results here. Further, work engagement partially mediated the relationship between two job resources and work family enrichment, and also between family support and family work enrichment. So they have it seems that they have taken various variables and they have been identifying the relationship among them. Okay. And then last one line is about implications, originality and future research. So implications for future research and practices are discussed. So in this statement, you can understand that what they have done is they have just given the gist and not revealing everything. So they have discussed in the last sentence that this future research implications are discussed in this paper. Okay. So if you want to understand what are its implications, what are the major discussion, if you want to understand in detail the research methods, then you have to read the entire research paper. Okay. Now, there is another like within this Scopus syntax journals, there are various publications like Elsevier is there, Sage Journal is there. Then we can have like Inder Science is there. Okay. And one of such journals like Springer Journal is Springer publication is already there. And one such publication is Emerald Publishing. Okay. So in this Emerald Publishing, they have some different structure, okay, or which is very, we can say the specified abstract structure which they follow. They will ask you as a researcher or author to write a few lines about purpose, design, methodology and approach, findings and originality. These are mandatory, okay. This four must be written, okay. And next three are optional. If you as a researcher or author of that research paper wants to write few lines about say research limitations or implications or some practical implications, social implications, then it is like we can say voluntary. If the researcher wants to mention, they can mention, otherwise not. And generally what they expect is all these things must be within the limit of 250 words. Okay. Yes. So here abstract part is covered. I would suggest the participants, if you have like in between any query or any doubts, you can mention in the chat box or note it down. We can like resolve that query at the end of this session. Okay. Next, two important thing is about introduction and literature review. So generally it is expected that introduction must be of say around 800 to 1000 words, and literature review of 1500 to 2000 words. Okay. Now, what to write in introduction? First, and how to differentiate between this introduction and literature review. Okay. So first thing is, introduction is about answering why, or keep on justifying that why it is important to conduct this research. Okay. And literature review is about what has been studied about your research area previously. Okay. Now, within introduction, it includes several different parts. First one is establish the importance of general area of interest. Okay, and we'll try to understand this with one example. Okay, so here in this example, this paper, which is titled as Customer Retention and Mediating Role of Perceived Value in Retail Industry, which is published in one of the MRL journals, Scopus Index journals. So with this statement, you can understand how they are trying to establish the importance. Okay, they have mentioned few lines, 4-5 lines, and then they have mentioned this statement. For this reason, focusing on customer retention has become very important for improving organizational performance and competitiveness. So since the title of the research paper involves customer retention, okay, so they are mentioning why it is important to study that. Okay, and again, few more lines about setting out the importance. Next, we need to indicate in general terms what has been done in this broad area. Okay, so here you can see previous studies examined several factors and predictors of customer retention in different industry context. Okay, and then few lines about what has been studied previously. Okay, next is identify important gaps, inconsistency, or controversies in the literature. So this is linked with this question of why we are doing this research. So this will justify that since there are important gaps or some inconsistency or controversy, therefore we are conducting this research. So here you can read this statement. Although a significant amount of research has been conducted on examining the purchase intention of consumers, there is no consensus. So यहाँ पे consistency नहीं है. No consensus agreement on what constitutes customer retention. Okay, so there they have identified the gap. Next is we should provide concise statement of the manuscript's purposes, that is purpose statement, which is generally mentioned in the last paragraph of the introduction. So it is about, majorly it is talking about the what is the main purpose or objectives. So this study is designed to examine the effects of social media marketing, corporate social responsibility, sales promotion, and store environment mediated by perceived value on customer retention. Okay, so that is about mentioning the purpose. And finally, the last part of introduction is about briefly describing the structure of the paper. So here in this part, can see, just a minute. Yes, this highlighted text. The next section presents the literature review for this study, followed by methodology, results, and finally, it ends with conclusion and future research direction. So this is the last part of the introduction. We can say introduction part of the research paper. Okay. Now, what should be mentioned in the literature review? First thing is, we should highlight the key theories and definitions from the existing studies of your research topic. Okay. So in the literature review section here, you can see the key theory which they have considered. The commitment trust theory posits that customer relationship can be established and maintained through gaining consumers' trust and brand commitment, which results from positive purchase experiences. So, this is about the theory. Then, as we were discussing about the definitions, so here customer retention can be described as, and they have mentioned the definition along with the relevant citations. Next important thing is support the inclusion of each constructs or maybe variables, you can say, by citing relevant studies. Okay. So here we can see, consider this. The higher degree of trust and commitment ultimately leads to greater customer retention. For example, this and various such examples we can see further, like customer retention emphasize on repetitive patronage, and some citation has been mentioned. And this entire paragraph is talking about customer retention. Okay. Next part is mention clear support for the proposed relationships between each of the constructs using the theoretical rationale. Okay. So whatever relationship or hypothesis we are proposing, so we cannot directly mention it. We have to mention some clear support for such hypothesis. Okay. For example, here they have like in this two paragraphs, starting from this paragraph and even in this paragraph, they have mentioned various such things, and we can read this highlighted sentence. For this reason, it become vital for organization to understand the needs and expectation of customers for managing their brand relationship. Further, this is the another variable, perceived value, where again they have mentioned various things like various like studies from the previous literature, and then they have mentioned this statement. Many researchers confirm the importance of perceived value by empirically showing direct effect on consumer willingness to purchase. Then some researchers reported that one of the key consideration that organization must take in order to retain and satisfy their customers is creation of added value for them. Okay. And then certain scholars also confirm perceived value has significant positive effect on customer retention. And therefore, here you can see, read this statement: based on the above discussion, the following hypothesis is presented. Okay, and then they have mentioned this hypothesis: perceived value has positive effect on customer retention. We cannot directly mention it, this hypothesis, that yes, say in my opinion, or I feel that there should be a relationship between A and B variables. No, you must like give enough support, or we should give enough rationale about why we are mentioning this hypothesis. Okay, so this was about introduction and LR part. Here it is important from the, like if we consider from the editorial perspective, the editors would be reviewing our research paper initially, and then by the reviewer team, we must cite these seminal studies. So seminal studies are the studies which have received maximum citations. Okay, you can check that in Google Scholar, where you can see if some studies in your area have received, say, more than say 500 or 1000 of citation, then yes, you can consider it as one of the seminal studies. So we must cite these seminal studies in introduction or in LR. Next important thing is we must also highlight latest studies. For example, someone is writing research paper and maybe submitting research paper say by December 2021. Okay, so at least 4 to 5 research papers which are published in 2021 should also be part of your literature review. And next important thing is you should also cite and highlight few studies from targeted journal as well. So initially, for example, if you have not shortlisted the journal you want to target and you are deciding it later, then you should ensure that some studies or some research should be highlighted in the literature review section from that specific targeted journal also. Okay. Next thing is about research methods and measures, okay, which should be of around 800 to 1000 words. So it should include the research approach, data collection procedure, what are the characteristics of participants, then response rate which you have received, then questionnaire statements, whether you have adopted it or adapted it, and overall reliability and validity test results. Okay. So let us understand this with this example of another research paper from another Scopus index journal. So here we can see they mentioned research methodology as method also. Participants, here they have mentioned adopted two-way longitudinal design for testing the hypothesis. Then they've also mentioned what kind of survey they have done. Survey were administered twice to the respondent with 6 month time interval. Okay. Then from where the respondents were drawn from hospital and an eyeglasses factory. Okay. Then this is the overall, we can say, proposed model which these researchers have proposed, this kind of relationship or maybe hypothesis they have proposed. Next thing you can see here, highlighted text. Sample of 786 full-time workers were considered. Then as of time 2, the respondents range from the age of 18 to 1 years were considered. 22% respondents were from hospital and so on. They have mentioned each and every detail here. Then respondents spent average of 13.3 hours in typical week looking after dependents and average of 9.7 hours on housework. So this is like what kind of workers or what kind of respondents have considered. Okay. And here they have also considered about the education level. Okay. What kind of education level this these participants have. So that was about the, we can say, majorly research methods. Next part is measures. So measures generally include, you can see here, how you have first coded your data. So gender was coded as 0 for men, 1 for women. Okay. So this is like nominal scale we can consider. 1 for married, 2nd for divorced or separated, and so on. The next is family-friendly organizational policies. So here respondents were asked to answer 0 for not offered and 1 for offered. Similarly, here 1 equals to never and 6 equals to all the time. Okay. So for different kind of variables, they have considered different kind of scales here. Okay. So that was about the research methods and measures. Okay. Since we have limited time left with us, I need to go a bit fast, but I will try my best to ensure that you all understand each and every aspect of this research paper. Okay. Next thing is data analysis and results. This data analysis and result must be in the range of say 800 to 1000 words. Okay. And what should be included in this data analysis and result? First is describe results and findings. So what are your major findings and results from whatever kind of we can say data analysis or statistical tools you have used? Second thing is you must mention there relevant tables and figures which can reflect your results and findings. And finally, analysis and observations of this statistical results. So let us go back to that research paper again and understand what they have done in their data analysis part. Okay. So first they have mentioned that structural equation modeling have been used, and they have analyzed it using a software known as Lizerl. Okay. Next is it is talking about, say, it tested research model connecting this family friendly organizational policies, supervisor support, okay, the overall hypothesis and variables which they have considered. Next is uh, even when you mention the methodology part, you have to justify it. So here you can see, as suggested by Anderson and Gerbing 1988, a two-step approach to SEM analysis was employed in the current study. Okay, so since similar like research technique has been used and suggested by previous researchers, therefore we are also following them. Next is, two measurement models were first tested to examine the distinctiveness of the measure. Then the nested structural model test was employed to test the research hypothesis. So this is about the explanation of what kind of like how you have gone through about the overall data analysis. Okay. Then next is, for the unidimensional constructs of supervisor support, college support, colleague support, job autonomy, and family support, we combine the item with highest and lowest loading by averaging until there were three indicators. Okay, and again they have mentioned few citations here. So since such kind of techniques, analytical techniques have been used previously, so they are also using it for this. They are using this citation as a validation. Okay. Next, to examine whether results were obtained from full sample were invariant across the gender and marital status, we conducted multiple group analysis. Okay, and then they have mentioned a few examples that how they have gone about the same. Then next is, in other between group model, the hypothesized relationship were constrained to be invariant across the gender if chi-square for the constrained model is significantly larger than the chi-square for the unconstrained model. The assumption of invariance is not tenable. Okay, so again they have justified it, that what kind of like statistical analysis they have done and why they have done it. And finally, if overall chi-square difference test revealed the lack of invariance, we examined the parameters to locate specific parts that significantly differed across the genders, as suggested by this Ball in 1989. So this were the like these three things are measured as a part of like data analysis. Further, we will also look at the measure results. In the results part, first we can mention about the descriptive statistics. Okay, so maybe here they have mentioned is about the zero order correlation. It provided support that employees who scored high in that specific variable, here they have mentioned the p-value also for each of the variables. Okay, and also reported high work engagement. And those who reported high levels of work engagement also reported at high levels of work family enrichment. Then as we were discussing about the relevant tables here, that relevant tables and figures should be mentioned. So they have mentioned first about the descriptive statistics, correlation, reliabilities for analysis variables. The next table is for model fit summary as a part of their overall like structural equation modeling. Okay, and they've explained it in the text below. And the third table is about model fit summary, structural equation models comparison. Okay, and in the figure also they've highlighted what kind of numbers or values they are getting after this like conducting the statistical test. Okay, and few lines of explanation about the same, whether they have achieved the significance or not. So this was about the data analysis and results part. Here, few important things to note down for all the researchers is first, carefully observe how similar data results have been displayed in previously published articles in the targeted journal. Okay, so if we have selected some or like we have shortlisted the specific journal where we would be submitting our research paper, so we should check that journals at least say past say 1 year's research papers published in that journal and identify that हम लोग के जैसा ही सिमिलर स्टैटिस्टिकल टेक्निक्स अगर किसी और रिसर्चर ने भी सेम जर्नल में अगर यूज किया है, so how they have mentioned or how they have written about those data results, and we can follow that kind of academic writing. Okay, next, review the writing style guidelines for the target journals. So uh, all these journals, Scopus index journals, have their own websites, okay, separate websites, and in that separate websites there is a section called author guidelines, okay, or writing style guidelines, because someone would be following say Harvard style of writing, someone would be following APA kind of style of academic writing, and so on. So you should go through that and you should understand that and follow such kind of writing style guidelines. Then next is read the different editorials on publishing tips that many journal editors periodically publish for their journal readership. So after this session, I would share few important links with Rajesh Bhoite sir. So all the researchers can go through such important editorials which has been published by the editorial team. So there they highlight or maybe they provide some important guidelines on what are the say major mistakes done by the researchers because of which their papers are being rejected, okay? Or while writing, what kind of things you should keep in mind so that your chances of your paper being accepted in such journal would increase. Okay. Next, do not waste space simply repeating the verbatim what is displayed in the tables and figures. This is most important thing, and this has been mentioned in various editorials that many researchers they simply mention the same thing which has been mentioned in the tables and figures. Okay, so for example, if someone has mentioned that in the table it is being mentioned that 50% of the respondents were from this and 20% of the respondents were from this, so they after mentioning in the table they repeat again in the sentence also. So this should not be done here. Okay, next important thing is about the discussion. Okay, so discussion should be between 1000 to 1500 words, but what should be written in the discussion? First, it is about interpreting and analyzing the results. Results के part में we have mentioned what kind of results we have got. Say for example, this hypothesis was proved and we have got significant results, statistical results. Therefore, we accept that hypothesis, for example. That is the findings and results part. But we need to here interpret and analyze that why such results have come or why such results have not come. Okay. Next is we'll understand this by example also. First, we'll go through these 3 points. Next is theoretical, that is academic, whether it supports or contradicts the existing literature in that domain and why. Okay, say for example, I will mention any simple example. Say for example, variable A is about, say, advertisement. Okay, so advertisement, if we are increasing, okay, then it will result in, say, for example, purchase intention of the consumers. This is our hypothesis. Okay, now this hypothesis has been proved by some of the researchers. However, there could be like someone would be the contradictors. There would be some group of researchers would be supporting this. Someone would be contradicting this, mentioning that purchase intention is not only the result of advertisement, but it is also dependent on, say, for example, product quality. Okay. Then next is, say, price of that product. Okay. Next is maybe, say, brand image of that company, and so on. Okay, so there could be some contradictors as well. So discussion में हमें क्या लिखना है? As a part of theoretical or academic discussion, we need to mention or cite all this, that whatever we have found. For example, हम लोग का findings है that advertising से purchase intention significantly drive नहीं होता. That is our finding. Then it would be like that, yes, it would support all such papers that it depends on multiple factors, and it will contradict such kind of papers. Okay, next is practical, or if it is from management perspective, then it could be managerial discussion, is how the findings are useful for the practitioners, that needs to be discussed. So if we continue this example, so if we have found that advertising do not drive purchase intention, and there are various different factors which results into final purchase intention. So for the marketers, it is important to focus on all the parameters like product quality, price, brand image, okay, and not only focusing on good advertising. Okay, so that could be the that is how our findings would be useful for the practitioners. Now let us understand this with that research paper, how they have written it. Okay, so first they have started with what was the aim. Okay, and then they have mentioned like what they have done overall. Now यहाँ पे if you can see, contrary to our hypothesis, colleague support had neither a significant direct effect on work engagement nor an indirect effect. So this means that some of their hypotheses have not been accepted. Okay, so this is how like another way of writing it, rather than just mentioning it at that yes, our hypothesis has been accepted or has been rejected. Okay, so contrary to our hypothesis, we found that this relationship is not working. Then this is about the research contributions. So findings of our study generally supported. So here you can see supporting kind of citations supported the hypothesis derived from this citation. Okay, then work engagement acted as most proximal factor, then specifically dual path model, and they have mentioned this, and it was like proposed by this. So again they are taking the citation of studies which can be like supported with their research. Okay, next our result supports the hypothesis that role resources are important, and again they have mentioned few citations. Okay, then our findings demonstrated that work engagement fully mediated, and so for each and every findings they have mentioned this support. Okay, next all these things are like similar since they have various variables, so lot to write, like they have a lot of contents to mention here. And then finally in sum, so like summarize, like they are summarizing here is Although the present study does not support fully mediated relationship, our study is first investigation. So here you can see they are reiterating about their contribution, how their study is unique. First investigation to date that provides evidence of linking that whatever variables they have considered. So that was about the discussion part. While writing the discussion, the care must be taken to avoid presenting a vague or any superficial kind of discussion. Okay, should be based on the findings only. We should not exaggerate it further. Okay, it should focus on how the findings provide new or different insights to the identified problems. Okay, so as they had mentioned in the last paragraph here, this is being the first investigation to date. Okay, and the focal questions are how and why do insights contribute to the literature. Okay, so how it contributes. So again, the last paragraph is talking about that contributions. Next important part is about the implications, which could be anywhere between 500 words to 700 words. Okay, so here the main focus is on specific implications of the findings and their value to the different members of, say, whatever area is finance, marketing, HR, and so on. And depending on the journal, implications may be titled more strongly for managers or practitioners or researchers or research community, public policymakers with respect to economics area, okay, or maybe some combination of different stakeholders. Okay, so here we will quickly go through this part also, the research limitations. Like research limitation we'll discuss later. This is about practical implications. So practical implication is here we can see for managers our findings, and then they have mentioned several things here. Okay. Then next is, for instance, a positive leadership. Again, they have mentioned about how like it would be important for leaders or supervisors. Okay. Then it also indicates to managers the importance of valuing employees' family lives as well. Okay. And for employees, this is the another stakeholder for employees. Our findings suggest that work means much more than an instrumental support for family. It is engagement at work rather than reduced participation at work that contributes their perception of enriched work and family life. Okay, so that was about the implication. They have only mentioned about here practical implications. Okay, next is about the conclusion, limitation, and scope for future research. So again, it would be of around 500 words. Here we should highlight outcome of the study. What is the final outcome of the study? And reiterate the important findings. Okay, what are the major findings? So in short, we can summarize those findings. Next is limitations, should highlight the constraints under which study was conducted, and some limitations and relevant gaps can be highlighted as future scope of research in that research domain. Okay, so let us quickly understand that as a part of research limitation which they have mentioned. Some limitation of this study should be noted. First, present study did not assess potential parallel mediating factor, some variables which they have not considered. Okay, this is first limitation. Second is study was based on self-reports that may raise question of common method bias. Okay, however, and this is how you can like come up with like it is not only about mentioning the limitation but how to cover it up also. However, the results of confirmatory factor analysis showed that all variables could be empirically distinguished. and thus not subject to common method variance. So that is how we can cover up our limitations. In addition, our predictors were separated in time from outcomes, which lowers the likelihood of findings, and then nevertheless, it would be beneficial to include objective indicators. So what they are doing is that some of their limitation they are driving towards the we can say future research. Okay. Third possible limitation which they have mentioned here, and regardless of the roles of this, they have mentioned here that not necessarily influence the findings. So again, they are covering it up with the another statement, their overall limitations. You cannot just mention it only as limitation, but also as a cover up sentence. Next example I would like to show you here is about future scope of research, which they have written very nicely. So for example, these are the limitations. First, this paper has mainly focused on retail industry with empirical data from consumers in Malaysia. So future research work are recommended to test variables in another industry or country context and employ larger sample size to confirm the result and have better conclusion. Okay. Similarly, another limitation they have highlighted, and then future research connected with that limitations. Okay. Next, a survey method was utilized for data collection. Future research may adopt qualitative technique. Okay. So such kind of future research work can be mentioned to cover up the limitations. Okay. So that is the last part. Then you have to mention some references also. And let me tell you that Scopus indexed journals, they generally expect from the writers that you should at least mention 100, around 100 kind of we can say references. Reason is that to showcase that you have read enough literature in your research domain and you are aware very much about whatever has research work has been done, and this is not the repetitive work. Okay, so here we need to again check the journal guidelines and accordingly list down all the references. It could be again say various different kinds, APA or maybe some Harvard style or maybe Stanford style, and various different styles are there. Next is alphabetical sequence needs to be followed here. So here, if we go through some of this references here, you can see they've started with A first, Acker, then Upsale, and so on. Okay. So it should be in alphabetical order. You can see here around 8 to 9 pages of references has been mentioned here. Okay. So it would be like around 100 or in fact more than 100. Ensure that all the reference from quality journals only. This is again next important thing, that whatever references or whatever citation we mention in such quality journals must be taken from other quality journals, okay, which are indexed in Scopus or ABDC, because again the editorial team only consider the literature of quality journal, like literature review done from the quality journals only. Next is important to include few relevant references from the journal you are targeting. So I'm again repeating this thing which I had mentioned in the introduction part as well. Okay. And finally, I would like to mention few important guidelines about the academic writing. First is we must ensure the originality or novelty. We must write everything in past tense because it is being considered that research work has been done in past. So whatever you write must be in past tense. Next is avoid the usage of first person, like I have done this, or I did this research method, I or we use this research method. Instead of that, use words such as this study includes this research or this paper includes this technique. Okay, or this research has implemented such kind of like analysis. Okay, then we should avoid too long or too short sentences. So sentences of say on an average, say 2 to 2.5 lines would be fine. Anything above that would be considered as too long from the perspective of readers. Okay, and it should not be say half a line sentence either. Then use of punctuations appropriately. So these are some of the links which again I would be sharing with Dr. Rajesh Bhoite sir. I would like to share the screen here. Yes. So these are some of the punctuation guides you can see here, which has been mentioned from one of the international universities, like where and how to use the full stop, colon, semicolon, comma, question mark, then apostrophe, hyphen, dash, the difference between the two, then parenthesis, exclamation marks, okay, and ellipsis, where 3 dots can be used. Okay, so I will share this links. Next is use relevant transitions in writing. This is very important. Okay, so this is another link which would be useful for you. For example, say how to transit in between. Okay, so here you can see during first like the early 20th century, in addition, then fourth, including extra information. So fourth is like 2 different citations have been mentioned here. Consequently, so this is the like how we can start the new statement or new sentence. Consequently, then the fifth one is including the results from some citations. Okay, and they have also given various such words which can be used, like say to indicate this sequence or logical order. We can use this kind of terminologies to refer to a specific incident. So we can use, for example, to illustrate, for instance, specifically, namely, and so on. Then to provide, emphasize, or indicate, like indeed, above all, especially, particularly, crucially. These are the words which we can use. So this includes various such in detailed words, like to summarize, finally, in brief, overall, therefore, in conclusion. So this would be very useful for all the researchers while writing the research paper. Okay. Next important link is about while citing other research works, mention suitable introductory phrases. Okay. So yes, this is about that introducing quotations and paraphrases. So here you can mention that X states that, X claims that, like, so previous researchers, whoever asserts that, agrees that, strongly argues, comments, observes, proposes, and so on. Okay, and various different examples have also been given. Different referencing style they have mentioned here. Okay, then with respect to agree and disagree, so you can go through this example in the links mentioned here. Okay. Next is use paraphrasing and quotation marks whenever necessary. This is another important thing, that they will not entertain your research paper if its plagiarism or similarity percentage is say more than 10%. It has to be in single digit, 9% or below. Okay. So how to avoid that? So we can either paraphrase, or in case if we are using say some definitions, then we can directly use the quotation marks. So such things are not being considered as plagiarism. So we'll go through this link. This link, there are 2 links here, Quillbot and Spinbot. Okay. So what this specific thing it does it does here is, for example, I would take some text from this research paper just to show you the demo, that how it can help us. Say, for example, this sentence. And I will click paraphrase here. And here I can like increase this to this level. Okay, just a minute. So here you can see highlighted text, all this different color text. That is how they have tried to paraphrase or change the same sentence. Although this paper provided significant contribution. So although this article contributed significantly to theory and practice. Okay. So this is one such tool, and we have one more such tool, just a minute, which is Spinboard. So again, here this is the same thing, but only thing is both these tools in the free version has some kind of word limit of say around 400 to 500 words. Okay, so you can like use it accordingly, or if you want to subscribe or take the paid version, you can go ahead with this. Then we must ensure plagiarism to be less than 10%. And this is very, very, very much important because many research papers are rejected because of this. That since we like it take around few months to write the research paper, we generally after completing the research papers without proofreading it ourselves, okay, we directly submit it, and then we realize that there were some silly mistakes, or that editorial team or reviewers, they may reject our paper because of the such silly mistakes. So please proofread your manuscript twice, at least twice, before submitting it. Okay, so all the silly mistakes, all the like grammatical error can be avoided. Okay, so this is the last slide, which gives the overall we can say overview of whatever we have discussed so far. Okay, that about the abstract, introduction, literature review, research methods, results, discussion, and finally conclusion. Okay, so that's it from my side. Sorry for the extra time which I took, but I thought all these things are important. So I hope it has added value to your knowledge. Yes.
Yeah,
So,
Krunal sir.
yes.
Yeah. Yes, thank you very much. Wonderful presentation. Very specific,
sir.
and with examples that has really added the value, because just understanding the norms, no one can guess out, but you have given the examples and anecdote. Thank you very much, sir. Sir,
you,
with your permission, we may raise some questions. Some questions we have written down, two, three.
Sure, please. Yes.
Even Ahtesham, sir, if you have any question in chat box, please, sir, you can raise those questions so sir can reply. Ahtesham, sir.
Yes, Kunal sir, there is a first question
Yes.
in the chat box.
Just a minute.
Professor Yusuf Faruqi sir has asked, what is chi-square test and how it helps in my research?
Yes, there are actually, that was the just one example of like test. There are several statistical tests, chi-square, then ANOVA, then regression or structural equation modeling. But maybe that can be discussed, that which kind of statistical test can be used in which kind of research. So it can be discussed maybe in some another session, since this is only focused on academic writing. So we can discuss that in some another session.
Right, sir.
Yes.
Sir, there is one question from Professor Shama.
Yes.
She want to know, if the exact number of population is not known, how much sample size should be taken for the research? And her topic is problems and prospects of women entrepreneurs in Thane district. Should I repeat the question, sir? Krunal, sir?
And is disconnected, is there?
Yeah, Jinal madam, you can unmute yourself after this question.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes. In between, maybe due to some network
yes,
error,
sir.
I got disconnected.
I'll repeat the question.
Yes.
So she wanted to ask, if the exact number of population is not known, how much sample size should be taken for research?
Okay.
And her topic is problems and prospects of women entrepreneurs in Thane district.
Okay, fine. So while considering the sample size, again, sample size links with the statistical analysis or statistical tools you would be using. For example, I would give just one example for your understanding, as we were discussing about structural equation modeling. Okay, so for structural equation modeling, as it has been highlighted by several researchers, that it should be for example, you have considered 30 questions in your questionnaire. So for each of the questions, this 30 number should be multiplied with 10. Okay, so that would be enough or sufficient sample size. So for in that case, it could be 300 sample size. Okay.
So next question is from Miss Bhakti.
Yes.
She wanted to ask, is there any difference in framing the research paper title and the thesis title? Final research paper, final thesis after the PhD research,
Yes.
and the paper we publish in journals or some conferences. Is there any significant difference between framing the title of these papers?
Yes, I would say from research paper perspective, since only yourself and your co-authors would be writing it, you can go through that specific journal which you are targeting, and go through its title of at least say at least last 1 year's issues, and then try to follow that kind of titles. But with respect to PhD thesis, different universities have different kind of requirements and expectations. So we need to you need to coordinate with your guide and ask, you can give at least 3 4 options of your title of the PhD thesis, and then ask your guide that which would be most suitable title. So that is the only difference, I would say.
Next, I would request to Professor Jinal Shah. She has a question. Please unmute yourself, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Krunal, sir, excellent session, and it's always pleasure listening to you.
Thanks
So
a
my
lot, ma'am.
question,
Yes.
so my question is about the plagiarism. Now, one of the manuscript that I was working on, the overall similarity index came up to 16%, and it
Okay.
was for very trivial words, sir, like the, of, research, aim, investigate,
Okay.
and even for those typical validity, reliability words like discriminant and hensler and hair and all of that. So,
Okay.
sir,
Okay.
I am
Got
like
it.
I'm finding it very difficult to reduce it further. So, can you guide me? Like, in a
Yes,
way?
yes, definitely. First thing I would like to check with you is, Jinal ma'am, which tool you are using to check the plagiarism? Is it Turnitin?
Sir, I've used Turnitin software, and for every source, it is showing less than 1%.
Okay.
But
Okay.
overall, it came 16%, and I'm very shocked and surprised. And that too, sometimes even for the variables that I've used, like usefulness, ease of use, or whatever, even
Yes.
that is coming as plagiarism, influence,
Okay.
significant,
Okay.
positive. So
Yes,
yeah.
then what you can do, which is allowed in all the Scopus index journal, is in Turnitin, there is an option of filter. Okay. You can click on that filter, or you can note it down just for the time being. You can click on the filter tab on the Turnitin, where you would be viewing the that PDF kind of view of the Turnitin output. Okay, and in that filter, select that exclude. So there would be multiple option of excluding. First is exclude the bibliography. Second is exclude 1% of the similarity. So all those which are less than 1% would be automatically it would be removed from that plagiarism report, and it is allowed, and it is as per the guidelines of the journals only.
Sir, and in terms of the words, continuous words, what is the standard? Is it 5 words, 6 words?
Again,
Because
this for with respect to words, some journals has this guidelines of 5 words, and some journals also allow it till 10 words also. That you
okay.
need to check, or maybe you can ask to the if they have not mentioned in their author guidelines, you can simply write an email to them and
Okay.
ask them. But I
Sir,
think in your
yeah.
case, since it is 16% now, and you have not excluded those 1%, I think it
Hmm.
would be less than 10%. It will come to less than 10%.
Okay. So that means, sir, even for high quality ABDC journals, they do this exclude 1% or what, sir?
Yes,
Because I
yes,
don't want to take a chance, submit and
yes,
then
yes,
be telling me that you
yes,
are
ma'am.
working. Okay,
Yes,
okay,
yes.
okay. Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank you,
yeah,
ma'am.
yeah.
Thank you,
Yeah,
madam. It
Jinal,
was a
thank you very much, Jinal. Let me tell you, Krunal sir, I have been knowing Jinal since years. She's one of the research scholar, youngest, who has been awarded number of first prizes in number of conferences. Let me
Great,
tell
great.
you, number of places she has been awarded first. There's a long list, I think, and she's
Thank you,
one
Yes.
of the
sir.
eminent research scholar at a young age. So keep it up, Jinal, and very nice question.
Thank you,
Yeah,
sir. Sir, guidance from you time to time. And then I've listened to Kunal sir earlier also. These eminent people like you help us shape, our research acumen. Thank you, sir. Thank you so
he
much.
does have
Thank you to
that
both
research
of you.
quality. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Our pleasure.
Sir, Krunal sir, the next question is from Professor Divyanjali Datta.
Yes.
What is the difference between descriptive statistics and inferential statistics?
Okay. So here descriptive is about, like, there are some descriptive tests where we only describe the results. Okay. So where, like, what kind of like results that test is showing. So that would be part of like mean, median, mode, and all such comes in that descriptive statistics. And inferential is where we actually infer. Okay. Like maybe chi-square, ANOVA, regression, and all this would be part of inferential statistics. But I think again this could be discussed elaborately if we conduct some sessions, maybe like sometimes later, about the statistical test.
Right, sir. We need some more session for the detail about the statistical tool and the statistical technique that we can use in research. So I hope Rajesh sir and our research cell coordinator, Dr. Shaukat Ali sir, has taken a note of it, and surely we'll arrange such session for our participants. Sir, the next question is
Yes.
from Professor Khan Shama. She want to ask that is using paraphrasing tools ethical?
Mhm. Yes, it is ethical because you are not changing the meaning of the sentence. Like, as far as you are not changing the meaning of the sentence, like that the two tools which I showed, the quill board and spin board, and there are various such tools. One thing which we as a researcher needs to keep in mind is that when the, like, that software can paraphrase our statements, but we have to read that properly and ensure that meaning of that statement, or meaning of what we want to say, has not changed.
In the meantime, thank you, Krunal sir, for this answer. In the meantime, I request all the participants to please fill the feedback form. It is posted by Professor Kirti Menghani as a Google Doc. So I request everyone to please fill the uh, feedback form, and
Yes.
please mention your name as you require on the certificate.
Yes, I
Sir,
think one important question which I could see was about the abstract. Like someone had mentioned or asked about whether should we write abstract at the beginning or at the end. So yes, you should write it at the end after you have written your entire research paper till conclusion section. Then you can summarize. Like for example, movie का trailer भी, if we see that हम लोग अगर वो पूरा movie बन चुका है, उसका storyline and entire like script is ready, उसके बाद ही उसका trailer बनता है. So it is like that. Abstract is summary of your
yes,
entire paper. Yes.
that's question. Thank you, Krunal sir. That question was missing from
Yes.
my side.
Huh. Okay.
Any other question participant would like to ask? Sir, in the meantime, there was some wonderful feedback about the session. Very excellent session, presentation, more informative and relevance.
Thanks a
This
lot.
was
Yeah.
all the way from Karnataka, Dr. Nagarajan. Thank you, Nagarajan sir, for attending this session and your valuable feedback.
Great. Thank
We
you so
also
much.
have one more participant from Karnataka, Mangalore. It is Professor K.N. Lakshmikant. So it was a very excellent presentation, sir.
Thank you so much, all the participants. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, Kunal sir, some participants are, all participants are asking if you are sharing with them PPT. So if, because that's a question major is coming on a personal chat also. So,
Yes,
are
some
we to
part of
share?
PPT are
Okay,
like
fine.
part of the some copyrighted contents from the papers. So I will remove those parts and then I would share the relevant notes, which would be really helpful for all the researchers.
Sure, sure. Then all the research scholars here and all the faculties, we ensure you that we shall send on the WhatsApp whatever PPT sir will forward us. And the
Yes.
other question that you are asking about recording, so we have to take a permission of our college institute and principal. We shall discuss team and then accordingly we shall send you it. Yeah, please note it. Thank you.
Recording will be also posted on our YouTube channel, and soon the link will be shared.
Okay, that is
I hope I got your permission, Principal Sir, for this announcement.
YouTube channel. They all can, YouTube channel. You all can join us and you can have the access to this lecture. Yeah, thank you. So, Ahtesham sir, with permission of principal sir, should we lead for vote of thanks? Hemant sir? Hemant sir? Yeah, Hemant sir, are you? Hemant sir, है ना यहाँ
Heman
पे?
Sir,
Sir, आप म्यूट क्या ये नहीं है? अनम्यूट कीजिए, अनम्यूट. कुछ तो शायद. Thank you, wonderful, feedback, all learners. Yeah, Hemant sir, आप सुन पा रहे हो? सर का शायद
Heman
एग्जाम से
Sir.
सर का ऑडियो का शायद मेरे को लग रहा है प्रॉब्लम है.
हाँ,
कुछ
मुझे
तो
लगता भी है.
टेक्निकल इशू है. Yeah.
Because
So please be
audio तो यहाँ
patient for
connected दिखा
few
रहा है सर का.
minutes. Okay, all dear faculties and research scholars, few minutes. We are just ending now by giving a proposing formal vote of thanks. Please ensure that all of you have filled the feedback form because that is
Smita
all
Madam,
for us to give you the
Smita Giri
certificates.
Madam, the feedback is already shared in the chat box. If you are unable to access, I request Professor Kirti Menghani to post the feedback form link.
Jyoti
Professor
Power
Kirti
Madam,
Menghani.
you can ask your question, please. If somewhere it is missed, we feel sorry. Please, you can ask your question. Jyoti Pawar, आप पूछ सकते हो क्वेश्चन अभी भी अगर आप मिस हुआ है तो. Jyoti Pawar
Yes, I
ma'am.
think Jyoti ma'am can please unmute yourself
She
and
wrote
ask the
now,
question.
but better she can unmute and she can ask. Yeah, please
Jyoti
ask the
ma'am's
Yes,
question.
question is how to develop a hypothesis.
yes. So, like it is bit connected with your like literature review part. So I would just show you that one research paper which we were discussing. I hope you can get some idea from that. Just a minute. Yes. While mentioning the hypothesis in the Scopus journals, they expect that you should first mention enough details about the both the variables between which, for example, A and B variables are there. So, for example, here customer retention is variable A. So they have mentioned enough details about that. Perceived value, they have again mentioned enough details. And then they have also, in this last paragraph, they've also mentioned how these two variables have been studied together. Okay. And then based on the above discussion, following hypothesis is presented that perceived value has a positive effect on customer retention. Now, the another perspective is how to come to this like hypothesis one. So it will again depend on your research questions. So that is again another thing which requires detailed discussion. So maybe we can discuss it maybe in some other sessions. Yes.
Yeah, very true. The learners, every research topic has intensive literature study on that. So
Yes.
we shall ensure you that we shall have a series of such lectures for you under our research cell with the permission of our chairperson and our principal. And I hope you all will join with us. Thank you. So I think we are running, short of time. We already are late. So if the principal sir permits us, we can give vote of thanks. Ahtesham, can you ring, sir? I think he's on call. Hemant sir.
Sir is on another call. Hemant
Hi.
sir.
Hemant sir. हाँ सर, आर यू देयर? या आपकी आवाज नहीं आ रही है सर. वोट ऑफ थैंक्स के लिए हम करें? या ओके. सो विद द प्रिंसिपल सर्स परमिशन, I request our IT coordinator and the very proactive, the IT support, great support you did provide in short time, sir. So I will request you to, to give vote of thanks, propose it. Yeah, please, Ahtesham sir.
Sir, with your permission, there are just two more questions. If they are answered, our session will get almost completed. So the questions are, Kunal sir, with your permission.
Yes, please.
Sir, the first is it is from Dr. Rishikesh Juikar, sir. Is 385 sample sufficient?
Okay.
385 sample is sufficient for research paper.
I need to go through various things. Like first is what kind of research, like statistical tools you are using, and overall your research methodology. So if you can send few lines about your research methodology and statistical tool, then I can definitely guide you for the same. I will do one thing. I will mention my email ID here in the chat box. It is profkrunal@gmail.com. So you can email it to me, and then I can definitely help you.
On the similar track, there is one more question. For 1,50,000 population, how much sample size should I take? This question was asked by Professor Farhana Anjum, Shaikh.
Okay. So to Farhana ma'am also, I would request the same thing, that if you can send me the research methodology and statistical tools you are using, then I can definitely guide you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah,
and I hope the participants has got their answers also. For further questions, sir has also provided the email. Yes. So with this, we would like to proceed to our vote of thanks segment. I have been interested one of the most important tasks of presenting the vote of thanks. I would first start with our supportive management of Anjuman-I-Islam, especially President Dr. Zahira Qazi Sahab, Vice President and in charge of our college, Mr. Mustaq Antule Sahab, our Executive Chairperson of Board of Higher and Professional Studies, Mrs. Yasmin Saifullah Madam, for her motivation, encouragement, and providing all possible support and permission for conducting this program. Our biggest support and source of motivation, our own in-charge principal, a very dynamic and enthusiastic person, Professor Hemanthkumar J, sir. Thank you, sir, for all your support and motivation and guidance. Without your support, this program wouldn't have been possible for us. A big thank you to our today's speaker, Professor, and soon to be Dr. Krunal Punjani, sir. This session was very wonderful, full of information, and a very highly complex topic of research was presented in a very simplified way. Sir, I learned a lot from your session, that how to present complex things into simple words and how to simplify things for the learners. And this will definitely help the participants, especially the young researchers, for preparing the abstract and papers for quality journals. This program was conducted under the able guidance and leadership of our research cell coordinator, Dr. Shaukat Ali, sir. Sir is not only the senior most faculty in our college, but across the academic circle. Thank you, Shaukat sir, for your guidance, support. Thank you, Professor Kirti Menghani, our IQAC coordinator, for her tireless efforts, day by day, minute by minute, in progressing toward the higher grade points in NAC. And we hope that we'll achieve this target in our next cycle under your leadership. Dr. Rajesh Bhoite, sir, thank you so much for all the arrangement. Your work cannot be described in just a few words. It will require a complete session for the efforts you are putting in research cell as well as organizing such activities. Most importantly, I would like to thank all our participants from all over India, right from Chandigarh, Delhi, Uttar Pradesh, Gujarat, Assam, Odisha, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, and all over Maharashtra cities like Jalgaon, Pune, Nagpur, Aurangabad, Parbhani, Sangli, and others. I have seen in the chat box and as well in the registration form also that people have joined all over India and Maharashtra cities. Thank you so much for your wholehearted participation and making this FDP a grand success. Last but not the least, I would like to thank all the IQAC members, our own faculty members, teaching and non-teaching staff. Thank you very much. Participants are also requested to fill the feedback form and certificates will be delivered by Saturday on your email ID. Thank you. Over to you, Rajesh sir.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you, Ahtesham sir. Vote of thanks is proposed, but if still your principal sir wants to give any conclude remark, he can give. Please, sir. Hemant sir.
Krunal sir, thank you so much. It was really great session, and the amount of patience for the in answering all the participants that actually made the entire. That in fact, it's not just speaking; it's actually taking care of the needs of the those who are with you. That was most important, and I am really thankful to you, and I would like to thank you once again on behalf of all the participants for really an excellent session and also a good guiding principle.
Thank you so much, sir, for your kind words. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. Then all of you have a nice day. Thanks again, Krunal sir. Everyone who is involved in the process. Thank you very much. Be blessed. Have a nice time and be safe. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. Bye.